We're live.
Okay, live. This is where we talk nonsense for a little bit while we share to all of our friends and viewers.
Nonsense only for a little bit.
Okay, I turned the volume down on my phone. Incredible, I know.
Yeah.
Share. Share to newsfeed.
I guess I'll turn off my other audio. There we go. I have everything but us going through speakers, and then us is just in my headset.
That's one thing I'm having a hard time getting used to with my PC is like toggling all the different, like because I have speakers like in the living room. It's kind of
It's a nightmare.
Remembering to change it.
Yeah, and then also like which apps are connected to which ones because some of them tether to it. Like Spotify will only play on my speakers, and they're like, "Oh, would you like to, default this to your headset?" I'm like, "Oh, jeez. I mean, I don't want to default it, but how about right now when it's plugged in?" You jerks.
Yeah.
Amanda.
Boop, boop.
I haven't heard from Skylar in a while. Is he okay? Did he die on a mountain?
I don't know. I think that's last I heard was he was skiing, right? Or something like that. Wasn't he gonna go snowboarding or what was he gonna do? He's gonna do something outdoorsy. The last time he was on here.
He always snowboards.
Always with the snowboards.
There we go. YouTube, put that there. Boop. Twitch. My favorite thing with Twitch, though, is I can pop out the chat and then close the window.
I always take a second sharing to Facebook because I tend to like share to a different batch of friends because some of them just forget that I have a podcast and they'll be like, "Oh shoot."
Sam Park in the lead, saying hello.
Sam Park.
He's gonna be our new biggest follower.
Oh,
there's
it's so weird. I almost never call him Sam Park or Sean Park. I always call him Chef because he's a chef, and I'm industry, and that doesn't go away pretty much ever. Did it someone? Okay, you got it on Twitch. Thank you. You're mushy. And I gotta tag myself. LUCASARTS. And then I'm gonna. And I'm so close.
Doesn't sound right.
Phrasing. Do we not do phrasing anymore? Okay, I'm all set.
Share it on my Twitter.
I'm in the show.
Come here. Nope. This is your punishment for hanging out with me. You have to say hello to stream.
Pop.
I don't want to be here. I'm a bad dog. I don't want to be here.
Boomer alert. You can't call Dimple a boomer alert because I am older than all of you, stupid goons. Anytime they make age jokes on someone else, I'm sitting there in the corner like,
Are we all shared? I'm gonna
go
get.
You probably look the youngest.
I'm gonna go get a fully sanctioned sponsor beer. I'm getting a sponsor beer. It's for the show.
Okay. All right, Maniacs. What are we on? 106? Holy cow. Oh, and we got Mr. Crispy Pants on Twitch. I haven't seen that dude in forever. I do not have a Twitch window open, but that is Mark Sumner from Portland.
Oh, hey.
What it do? Wait, hold on. I've been watching a lot of Jesus and Mero. I got to do that, right? Bodega Boys. All right. Here's the slate. 3, 2, 1. Maniacs. Thanks for joining us. This is already a really exciting episode. This is episode 106 of Soundcasting Network's very own video game podcast where your argument is
puppies.
Your argument is invalid. It's also
Treason.
puppies. Your argument is Tencent's best friend. They're all listening. We are coming to you from not from South Lake Union, Seattle, Washington, not in Studio 212. That was so backwards and all over the place. But we're happy to see you. Happy 2021. Now 2021 is settled in.
Has it though?
I mean,
Has it though?
but
2021 doesn't start until like the Chinese New Year starts. Let's just go with that.
okay, that'll be a good pivot point.
Since
And
we're
then
going to be
Black
on
Widow.
the calendar anyway, eventually.
Yeah. Well, goodness, we're happy to be here. Before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our overlords and lovelies. Hold on. Oh God, why am I so backwards? Voodoo Ranger IPA. Woohoo! Maniacs, this is employee owned and B Corp certified out of Colorado, United States. And it's their IPA line. So it's a little stiff for some people. It's not a lager. It's not a Heffy. And yes, thank you, Dimple. And ooh, I forgot to say which one I had. This is the Juicy Haze IPA.
And
I'm a
what's
fan.
its percentage?
The percentage on this one is 7.5. So.
And Russ, what is yours?
I have what you have over there, Sage Bell. I have the Imperial IPA. This is 9%, so you got to be careful with this.
I mean, you do with the Juicifer too, or Juicy IPA. Sorry, Juicifer is no more.
Sad, but check them out. Hashtag Live Rangerously. You can order them through Drizzly. I'm gonna go contact our rep and see if we could get all of our listeners a discount code or not. Stay tuned. You're gonna have to show up next week and find out. And everybody missed out on the Atomic Pumpkin. That was such a good one. It was so good.
We'll see what we get in spring.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of curious because their branding is off the charts. You know, the Voodoo Ranger has many costumes, many different outfits.
He's got the gold tooth.
They are styling, and across genres too. There's like 80s, neon, aviation, space. The most recent one was kind of a yoga retreat.
Yeah, one's like superhero type one.
Yeah, the Ranger, the super whatever it was called.
Rangers.
They're all Rangers. Check them out, and they also. Dimple's asking if we got Crown as a sponsor. That'd probably be the most dangerous thing for me and AV. It'd be not very productive podcasts at all. We'd be blacked out the entire time, which we've never done on the podcast. Of course not.
Ever. It's never happened.
Drink responsibly.
Just as Shady. It's never happened.
Once again, check out Voodoo Ranger IPA and also other beers offered by New Belgium. And thank you, Lauren. We love you.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Thank you for the airdrops.
Yeah, the airdrop. Operation Dumbo Drop.
Mm-hmm.
So, to introduce ourselves individually, I am loudnbrown at loudnbrown. That's Twitter and Instagram. I am GrossDef with a PH on PS4 and Steam. And the purple one is...
Hello, it's me, Sage Bell, at Sage Bell on Twitter and Twitch. I stream Thursday nights at 7 p.m. and then randomly throughout the week sometimes. I also can be found on Facebook and Instagram at SageBell_model. Sometimes I post on TikTok and it's really random bullshit under the same username.
Nice.
And we were just doing socials, right?
Yeah.
And to the sufficient hat.
Yes. Not Supreme. I just get by these days. This is the Savorings. ... How y'all doing? It's good to be seen. Happy 2021 so far. It's going great. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe where you are. I would say find me on Steam, but I haven't really played anything in like the last 2 weeks or so. So find us here on the podcast. Find me here on the podcast. Hit us up on the Facebook page, the Twitters, all that stuff is all Salt Tier, except for which is the Salt Tier Pod one.
So Salt_tier pod.
Yes. Find us at Saltier at everywhere else, including all your favorite podcast places, which is where you can find me right now because I don't know where I'll be online from a social standpoint anyway. But that's what's been up. It's good to see all you guys. How you two been doing?
No, doing fantastic. Vince from Vince Rants is here joining us on the YouTube chat. Thank you for joining. He's taking a break from being salty on Overwatch, which is a thing that happens. You got to breathe sometimes, you know?
True.
Oh, bestest sages. Look at that shout out.
We played Overwatch this week together.
Nice.
Oh, adorable. I guess we'll go on to that then. That'll be the next subject. I, Maniacs, played something other than Overwatch and Street Fighter. But
For those who want to know, he was saying that before the show, and I didn't believe him. So let's hear this. What you got?
Well, first off, I definitely played Overwatch and Street Fighter. I don't know if Street Fighter is going to do another season or they're going to do another game because they're coming up on 6 years now. And I think for like to do Street Fighter 6, there's a suspicion that they're going to drop 6 pretty soon.
Okay.
And they might not do a complete overhaul. You know how like Tekken 2 to Tekken 3 was huge and Tekken 3 to Tekken 4 was huge, but Tekken 6 to 7 graphically and engine-wise wasn't that noticeable. Like they had supers and they cleaned it up, but it was like, oh, it's a polished version of this. I think that makes sense to me. Just release Street Fighter 6. You can even use the base system, you know. But I assume they're gonna make a push to be relevant on the newer consoles. But maybe, yeah, I know, Dimple. But maybe, you know, fix the structure because this last one was built on a platform that would adjust for internet lag to make more people want to play Street Fighter Online. Because Street Fighter 4 Online was pretty difficult because they had one frame links. They had all of these exploits that you had to be there in person. And their netcode was terrible. So like online tournaments wouldn't even be a thing with Street Fighter 4, like Street Fighter 5 is doing now. But that opened the gates for more casual players kind of getting away with these exploits that are only in Street Fighter 5. And when you see them try to play Street Fighter 4 or Third Strike, they get bodied by like, you know, people like us, like 30 and 40-year-olds being like, get this millennial out of my arcade. You can't play Street Fighter. And they get dominated because there's all this stuff that kind of pillows, you know, big comebacks in Street Fighter 5. Like you can get half of your life gauge gone, but it fills up your V-trigger meter. And those can win the entire game. And I'm like, all right. No, they're not the same game, Vince. There are no one frame links in Street Fighter 5. There are far less in like fully invincible 3-frame reversals. There's so many technical things about Street Fighter 4. I can't even get into it right now because I don't want to talk too much. But Vince, when you get to, go ahead.
I would say 4 and 5 are as different as 3 and 4 were to me.
I would believe that too.
Yeah.
You know, because some people see the 3D and they're like, oh, this is way different. I'm like, Street Fighter 4 is pretty similar to Super Turbo. It really is. The way it plays.
On the Super Nintendo, yeah, it reminds me very much of it.
I mean, yeah, arcade, whatever. And then I played some Overwatch. You know, I got my loot boxes, and I have just fallen in love with playing Anna. Like I will be in a better mood if I have a good game with Anna, and I'll finish up the rest of my day. It's still the most fun I've ever had in any shooter. Okay, I don't know what Vince is saying here. That sounds like technical talk. You could talk about that later. Anyway, the game that I played that wasn't Overwatch or Street Fighter was oh god, I forgot the name of the game.
Deep Rock Galactic?
Oh, no. It was.
You didn't play that?
No, I did not. I have to go to my Twitter because I forgot the name of the game.
You have to look on your Twitter to see what game you
Were
played.
you playing on Steam or on your console?
This is the funny thing. It was for one of my best friend's birthday parties. He wanted to play games with his friends, and a lot of them are casual gamers. So it had to be multiple people, And
Human
so,
fall flat.
yeah, thank
That's
you.
what it was.
So we went on Stadia because it's browser based, and like I said, his wife wanted to play. His
Dimple,
wife,
you're right.
yeah, Boomer. Well, that
You
wasn't
want
my call, but it was his wife wanted to play, and his wife's not gonna sign up for all of these things. And his best friend from high school wanted to play, and he found promo codes for everybody to get a Stadia for 3 months. So he kind of organized his own birthday party, and
yes.
yeah, yeah, we had and then we played, yeah, Fall Flat, and it was so human Fall Flat. It is such a fun game. He was like, "Oh, so you like Gang Beasts?" I'm like, "Gang Beasts is kind of fun when you're drunk with friends, but there's so much more to Human Fall Flat that actually reminded me the most with Portal, the way that you problem solve, and you get from point A to point B. That's what it, and also
If you have Game Pass, it's free on Game Pass right now.
oh, cool.
Nice.
Well, I got it for 3 months. Woo!
Yeah, Matt Stott's Deep Rock Galactic was fun. I just got kind of tired of it toward the higher levels because then it stopped being fun, and you had it got really intense if you wanted to So I was just like, okay, I'm out. I'm not really having casual fun anymore or semi-hardcore fun anymore. Now it's getting hardcore. So yeah.
It was a fantastic game. I just found out the day after that there are all these skins that you can get for all of your players, and now we want to play even more. We played 6 hours.
So you said you played it on Stadia. How was your experience with Stadia? If somebody didn't tell you that you were streaming online, would you have known? How did it work out for you guys?
Here's the crazy thing. So, my first experience with streaming game was PlayStation. Is it called Next?
PlayStation Now. Yep.
Yeah, that's how I played Last of Us Part 1.
Okay.
I kind of took a gamble on it, and I had it for a little bit. I think I played like 3 games, and then I canceled my thing for it. But Last of Us was pretty decent. Rarely did it have a loading screen. It did feel like it was just reading off a disc sometimes. But, I wasn't playing online with anybody. It was a multiplayer, so who cares? Stadia, and here's the funny thing. Because we started a video chat on Discord before we started gaming, because I didn't know what game we were playing.
Mm.
I did it on my MacBook, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't have any RAM on this thing.
No,
I have 4 or 8 gigs or something, and
really?
Chrome eats that up, right?
Yeah.
So I was scared. I was like, "Hey, I can barely do my podcast on this thing. Let me see how this first 20 minutes go. I might have to switch to the living room." And he was like, "Cool, let me know." And it was seamless. It was so totally fine.
Nice.
Everything worked great. So I had Discord and Stadia rocking the whole time. We had 5 people playing Human Fall Flat.
You have a controller? You were using a Stadia
And
controller?
I just went boop, PlayStation 4 controller, identified it instantly, no problems.
Okay.
Once again, I'm not negging my tower. I think I just need Windows 10. Because Windows 7 is so old. But how easy that was to just plug in and play, especially for someone that isn't PC, literate like you two. It makes things easier for people like me, and also I have a lot of friends that are casual gamers that aren't in tech, that are just food industry people that have MacBooks, and sometimes they might want a game, And yes, Vince, you want to send me over Windows 10, please? Thank you. I know, Dimple. Everybody's clowning on me. Okay, I get it.
Play it. You can play Human Fall Flat on your Windows 7. It can take XP.
Word, but in the future, I needed to get that upgraded anyway. And then I could play Overwatch with everybody on a controller, because keyboard and mouse, it hurts my little fingies. I could play it and just I don't have. It's the same reason some people can't play stick with Street Fighter. Some people are comfortable with a controller, and I think that's weird. And they're like, "No, you're weird for having a stick." I'm like, "You don't understand where I came from."
Vince said you need a PC Master Race intervention because you're still on Windows 7.
PCMR?
Yeah, PC Master Race.
Oh, that's very true. That's what I played this week. I highly, highly recommend, especially if you want to play games with casual friends, and even not casual, because on the later levels, it gets pretty technical. At the end, some people went to sleep. His wife went to sleep. His other friend from from college went to sleep, and it was just me and him and one of our other homies. And it got to like these really technical, like I said, like Mario 64, like stuff that doesn't seem like the game wants you to do, but it's absolutely. That also happens in Portal, where you're like, am I supposed to do this weird thing and ricochet this thing, and that's how I get this thing? And there's several ways to beat every level because of the physics engine in Human Fall Flat. So much fun. But that's what I played this week. 2, the purple-haired goddess of Saltier. What did you play as I pour my coffee?
Coffee?
Yes.
What?
That's not how you reset your sleep meter. So I probably played Overwatch. I actually don't remember if that was this week or last week.
May I ask, because I ask this every now and then, have you been maining anybody recently? Or have you discovered any... Have you been gravitated toward any of the heroes more than off?
I play on random every time I go online.
So always,
anyone.
What's it called? What's the damn game called? Mystery. Mystery Heroes. Yeah, you always play Mystery. Mystery is a lot of fun. But put it this way: do you get more excited when you get certain heroes?
I mean, yeah, that's because I'll get my mains occasionally, which is Fair and Symmetra. Or if for some reason sometimes I have good games where I'm a really good sniper. Not all games. Sometimes I'm just like, how did I just get a quad kill with my Widow?
Don't question it. Don't question it.
I tried to pick up some Tekken, and that was just me putting the controller back down. It was that's why the gamepad is right here. I tried to play some this week, and I just couldn't. My brain just said no. And then I think we played Raft. We found bears. Bears are terrifying. I didn't have anything like Raft is a survival game. And I didn't have the right equipment on the island that had bears. So like I just yeeted myself off a cliff into water because the water doesn't give you fall damage. Which is better than trying to, not die by a bear.
Yeah.
And then we went to another island, and there was these like vulture seagull looking hybrid birds that like carried rocks and dropped them on you. So you had to like watch out for those. There's pufferfish at that island. Pufferfish emit poisonous gas when they puff up. And then there was also a bunch of pigs, and Rogue died by bear multiple times. He died by pig multiple times.
Goodness.
But I did find
death by bear pig?
I hope not.
Man bear pig.
Man bear pig? I'm
sorry, Sage, but when you were talking about you jumped off into the water to get away from the bear, I had the whole scene from The Fugitive, except instead of Tommy Lee Jones, it was a bear. I don't know why I had that visual.
The island's super, super tall, so like it's a good like 30-story drop into water. Like nice. I should not like get in that unscathed without hitting the floor and dying.
Sound like you'd rather take your chances though with the water.
Yeah. I'd rather take my chances with the shark. I know how to kill a shark.
How big is a shark? Is it this big? Is it this big? Is it this big? Is it a baby shark?
Definitely not.
Dun.
Pufferfish are probably the size of a baby.
Is it a mama shark?
Well, we usually name them like Bruce and Larry, so I'm gonna say they're daddy sharks.
Daddy sharks. Hey.
We got so many shark heads on display. We found out you could wear so I'm wearing the one of the birds we killed's heads, and then you can wear pufferfish hats that look like little do-rags, but like spiky.
Is it one of the birds you were describing, the vulture looking things?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I had its head on, and so like in my view I can see like the top of the beak in my eyes lines in the game.
Nice.
And then I played more Dead by Daylight. I'm rank
Ew.
12 now. I'm ranked 12 now, and I'm green. And I entered a DVD tournament that will be next month, February 12th, 13th.
And
Nice.
just to bring this up in chat so Russ can see it, Vince Rants is going to try to make everybody out there jelly. He's got his RTX 3080 on a 65-inch 4K with 120 hertz HDR screen, and he played solitaire.
And I saw Dimple suggested that he plays Minecraft, which is always the first game you should fire up whenever you get any new expensive piece of hardware. Forget everything else. First game you got to fire up every time by law is Minecraft.
That's funny. I remember when I bought my first TV in Seattle. You know, it was my first HD anything, and it was only 1080, whatever. And they're like, "What'd you play? Did you play Blu-rays?" Like, I don't have a Blu-ray player. It's like, "What'd you do?" I'm like, "I watched Street Fighter on DVD."
Nice.
And they're like, "The movie with Raul Julia?" I'm like, "Yes."
Oh,
like,
you're not even talking the animated one. You're talking
No,
live,
Street
before the
Fighter the
Jam
live
Jam?
action. I was like kind of trolling myself. I'm like, I didn't plan accordingly. I went and got this HD TV, and I have nothing that's HD. So I was like, I'm just gonna slum it and have fun. And I still
Nice.
don't. And now I have, but you know, now my Blu-rays look all great.
Nice.
Raft sounds like fun.
Raft is pretty great.
There was an update for it recently, wasn't there?
I believe so. I mean, we're not very far in the story, so
Okay. I thought I saw some kind of update for it on Steam.
so there have been updates, but I don't think we've seen the updates, or
Oh,
we're
okay.
like far enough behind that the updates aren't affecting us yet, kind of thing.
Okay.
And Savorings. Oh, sorry. Matt
Oh.
was talking about testing new systems with CS:GO instead of Minecraft.
That is one. I think CS:GO is if you end up with a lower computer and you just want to see if it can run CS:GO. But like if you get like your $1,000 graphics card, of course the first thing you do is fire up Minecraft. If you have a $3,000 TV, fire up the Minecraft, boy. So yeah, got to do it. I think Linus had where he hooked up a bunch of monitors, so he basically had a 16K display, and the first thing they fired up was Minecraft.
Well,
So you gotta
cool.
do it.
Well then, Overwatch, Raft, Dead by Daylight,
And you're in the tournament.
And Tekken.
Tekken.
I picked it up and then set it down immediately because I just Zafina's not a character you can just pick up and play.
Yeah, you gotta lab her for sure.
Yeah, I was just like, oh crap.
They just did a feature on, I think it was Core Gaming. They had, you know, an esports like sponsored player walking through like how to approach picking up. Like it's kind of like a guide, like, so you want to play Zafina because it's so different. And so there's like a kind of they do a tutorial. Core Gaming is so good. They're so good.
It's also because I've only had this gamepad for a couple years and I haven't really used it very much, and I've never used the gamepad outside of like being in an arcade style.
Yeah.
So like this is not what I'm used to or what I learned fighters on. I learned on a 360 controller, which is very different.
Yeah, and you know what? People play on pads. You know, it's cool that you have a stick, but you don't have to be bound to it just because you bought one. I know people that have tried it and then dialed back, or people like AV, where, you know, he kind of grew up playing on controller and keyboard, and then he tried stick, and now I find out he kind of likes the idea of a hitbox more than anything, which is a little bit of both.
This is definitely a lot less hand fatigue than a controller, and I don't destroy it as quickly. Because with the controller, because they're typically like a little silicone-y on the thumbsticks.
Yeah.
I dig my nails into them.
Oh.
That's how I would control the stick, so I'd be more precise. So like trying to figure out how to do the motions with the stick portion of this, I literally will like put my hand just straight on top instead of like holding it normal. I'll go like this because I can like feel the motions easier than like holding it.
Word. Yeah, I mean, because you play so much PC, you know, have you tried a hitbox before?
Keyboard mouse?
No. It's a stick. You know how the right buttons, there's 8, buttons. Instead of a joystick, they have 4 buttons like this. So you play it like WSAD. For up, down, left, right. And that's what AV likes. That's what Albert dominates people with. Even Daigo bought a hitbox because it just the way that it works is some people play a lot of PC, and that makes sense to some people more than a stick. You know, the stick.
Oh.
Yeah, so you might actually like that, and they're smaller because you don't have this bat sticking out, so you can just stick it in a bag and walk to events no problem. And it's like a very new technology, so you're not going to get a bunch of, you know, third party, like poorly made junk.
Mhm.
Like anybody that does hitbox right now, they do it for the right reasons, and they're really, really well made. And yeah, talk to Goon about that.
Where's my Mad Cats? Where's my Mad Cats hitbox? I gotta have the Mad Cats.
Well, the thing is, right before Mad Cats went out of business, they had their redemption arc. You know this, right?
What's that? Mad Cats?
Yeah.
Before they went out of business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We call Vince. We call him Goon. That's his gamer tag. You Vancouver kids all call him Albie. But Mad Cats had the redemption arc where right before they went out of business, they were like, "Hey, we're doing a collab with Street Fighter. We're gonna get Sanwa Japanese parts and sticks in a very well-made system." And people, that was the default stick if you were playing Street Fighter or Marvel or all these games, because it was like $100 and as good as like $150 sticks.
So like, why'd they wait until they were going out of business to actually?
Who
make a
knows?
good
I
stick?
think it had something to do with. I think it had something to do with Capcom reaching out to them, and they're like, "Hey, man, I know your things look bleak, but can we collaborate and make something that isn't terrible?" And I had a Mad Catz TE for years, never broke. And remember, I used to play a lot. I used to play like 20 hours of Street Fighter a week. Like that used to be like the main thing I played. I went to tournaments. I went to Evo. But now Mad Catz is gone, and no one's really taking that place because there's more than one brand that's doing it well now.
Yeah. And everything seems to be a little bit more boutique. There's not a whole lot of, unless you go to like a warehouse club or go to like Amazon, there's not a whole lot of.
Well, no.
Like
Sage and I, our stick that we use, that's Kanba, and that thing is $70.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Like all the stuff that's made, usually most second and third party controllers, it's a little bit more boutique versus back in the day when they just spammed like 19 different Super Nintendo controllers out there and 50 different Genesis controllers out there.
I see what you mean.
You can still find those, but you have to actually go look for those versus if you go into a store, they by default kind of have nicer and up controllers. So, yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, we went on a tangent, but you know, me and fighting games. I'm bad at them, but I love them. Savorings, ... What the F did you play this week?
You know what, you guys? I think the last 2 weeks I've said I haven't really played all that much, and this week's no exception. I played a little bit of Subnautica in my new VR just to see what that looked like, and I played a little bit to record because I was going to have a little snippet like we've been doing. But I'm having some editing issues over here, and I need to set up my second machine, and I need to actually activate my actual professional copy of Vegas so I can get that taken care of. But the copy that I have through Steam on my current computer, like those two are just not jiving right now, and I can't edit anything. So I played a little bit of Subnautica, maybe like an hour to capture some footage that I edited down to 3 minutes, and then it crashed like 4 times while I was rendering at 1:30 in the morning. So that's why we have no video. And I played a little bit today. I played a little bit of Ni no Kuni, which is the game that I covered here on the channel in one of the previous videos, and that I've been meaning to beat for about a month so I can move on to my backlog, which is deep. I got Nier Automata on there. I got Dragon Quest 11 still on there. I got Microsoft Flight Simulator and VR on my list. So I've got a kind of a crazy list to go back and play. And other than that, I hold on. I'd have to look. Like, let me physically look and see what I've been playing because I have no idea. So I've got those games. I pop in and out of Cyberpunk every time I hear there's some kind of update for it, and the game is still kind of crunchy. And I played a little bit of Trover. Trover Saves the Universe. That's the game by the guys who made Rick and Morty. And you can play it and you can play it in VR, or you can play it on a flat screen. You don't have to have VR for it. So I played it a little bit. I beat the stage that I was halfway through the last time I played it a couple months ago, just to progress a little further. Because I do eventually want to beat that game too. So that's about it. Yes, Matt Stotts. Subnautica is amazing. Try it in VR. It's even crazier. Yeah. So that's what I have, or I guess have not been playing. More likely with me. So
Well, cool. I mean, those are our updates. I only had one other thing to talk about, and it's the article that Polygon put out recently, and it's about they went and did like journalism. It wasn't just like a top
Polygon?
10. Yeah, it wasn't just a top 10. It's at the top of our private chat. It's not just a top 10 list. It's not just a review. It's like, let's do some interviews, hunt some data, get some history. And it's something that is very, very dear to me and AV, because when it comes to fighters, this is the one that gives me the most amount of pleasant memories. Which is weird because I wasn't even that good at Capcom vs SNK 2. I got bodied at my arcade, but I also am from Hawaii, and our local, I had to drive a little bit, but our big arcade had straight killers there. And I wasn't that good at that one. I was better at Third Strike, and I was way better at Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4, I was actually competent. I could say I was actually part of the scene when that was going on.
Third Strike was probably the last game that I really, really, really got into. I had that on the Dreamcast, and I played that at my school. I went to the Art Institute in California, and in our lounge we had that game. So most of us were just standing outside in the lounge playing that game all day.
Which Art Institute did you go to?
The one in Orange County.
I went to Art Institute in Orange County for the video game program for 1 quarter. We had a Third Strike tournament, and I got second place.
Bruh, I was there before you. We played on the same machine, just at different times. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, were you before me or after me?
I was there in 2001. I was there in 2000 and 2001.
Okay, yeah, you were like a little before me. Yeah.
I was at the Portland one in 2009.
Nice.
Yeah.
Art Institute alumni. I'm doing air quotes, alumni. What's up?
The cool thing about AI, though, is it really was almost like Hogwarts, or any other thing. Like,
totally.
You get that first day and you're like, all right, animation, and it's all the Kikomori, like quiet, mousy weebs, like here, and they're like, okay, we have architecture, and they're all like in their 30s and have glasses, and they're ready to fucking work, right? Yeah. And they were like, fine art, and side bobs, and wearing all black, and then they're like, all right, who's here for game design? And we're like, ah! And we're all the frat boys, and there's a lot of men and women, and everything. Like, it was diverse, but we were the loudest, most rambunctious of the entire school, and everybody's like, oh, you're game design. I'm like, why does everybody say this? Like, y'all are crazy. We have art school people.
You have to be crazy to go into it a little bit. I don't know if I told you guys this story, but like my first day I went to class there, my teacher, I cannot remember his name to save my life. I want to email this guy if I can remember who he was. He worked on like the translation for Cowboy Bebop. He worked with like Don Bluth and worked on like Secret of NIMH. This dude worked for Disney at points. So we knew that this guy knew what he was talking about. And my first ever class was with him. And he introduced himself. He kind of talked about what he worked on. And right before we got into it, he was like, if you enjoy media, like movies, TV shows, music, whatever, if you enjoy it just for the sake of enjoying it, he's like, you should probably like leave right now. You should probably drop this class and drop out of school, because I'm about to ruin everything for you. And like, he's like in 20 minutes, it will be ruined for you. And I remember we all kind of sat there in class. We all kind of looked at each other like, seeing who was going to move. Nobody moved. And we're all like, okay. And literally 20 minutes later, we're all just sitting there like, just like stunned, like, what? Like, that's how it works? That's how they make the donuts? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no one wants to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
That's totally actually not the reason I left. The reason I left is, the game design program was so new. Mm-hmm. We had an alumni visit us. He spent 4 years at AI, which is a lot of money.
Yes, I do.
And he was like, we were like, hey, how's the program? He's like, good, I'm just in QA. And then we looked and we're like,
yeah.
Excuse me?
That's why I dropped out. I
dropped out.
Yeah, I kept seeing people who were ahead of me, or I was in the same class or whatever, and their homework was like, if you didn't tell somebody that was somebody's project, you would think it was an actual commercial or like a movie trailer. And then 6, 7, 8 months later, a year later, I see them working at the mall, and I'm just like, you didn't get a job? Like, what the hell am I doing?
They do job placement, but they put you on the bottom rung. Mailroom, QA.
I'm talking. I saw people like working at Subway and like working at Foot Locker after that. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, and then AI got sued later because they were a for-profit.
Yeah, except if you lived in Washington, you weren't part of that because how our weird laws are out here, so you couldn't get a piece of it.
The only people I saw like that successfully, actually, a lot of people from my particular graduating class, are working in the industry, but for the most part, the people who like I saw actively being able to get work were people who worked in animation, or
Oh,
yeah. So like I had like one of my first animation classes, our TA, she left to work on Grimm. She
Really?
was
oh,
still like a second or third year student, or second year because it is a 3-year school. So she was a second year student and she left school to work on Grimm. Like the teacher's like, nah, drop out, go work on Grimm. She's like, but no. And so she was one of the main people in animations, and Grimm would actually take a lot of people from the Portland AI animation department and have them work on set and like do all
Nice.
the animations, which I thought was super cool. So like
Yeah.
that was like a nice like segue direction for some kids,
yeah.
but like I don't think any of the programmers are working very high. Maybe two of them. But like my ex and I had the same degree, and him and I are both like the same level, which is QA-ish.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely say I'd use my computer skills, like the computer skills I was taught there, working in a lab environment. That's literally what I do. I mean, I've got like my whole little lab set up behind me. But normally I'm in a big giant lab with a bunch of machines and servers and stuff, which got, that school got me used to. The rest of it just made me a cynical bastard against against media. It literally ruined everything for me. Not everything. I still do enjoy some things just to enjoy it. But I savor those things. It's partially where my name comes from. I savor those things that I can just turn my brain off and just enjoy them for what they are. The MCU movies, some of the Nolan movies, like some of the stuff you can just turn your brain off and just enjoy it for what it is. Other than that, everything is just like I could see the people who wrote this. I know who wrote. I could see into the writer's room. What are you guys doing in here? Like that kind of stuff. So
My
yeah.
favorite part was just like learning 3D modeling and then like learning how to just make an archway. And like that's part of the reason why I got really into BioShock, was because that was when I learned how to 3D model.
Oh
And
yeah.
so it was like, oh my God, I know how to make this asset and how to texture it and how to add these leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
so that was like nerdgasm playing that game, plus also
That's
the creep factor of it.
that's a totally good game to like, when you're learning how to do that, because you could see it, like not even
Mhm.
knowing how to do that, like just being a gamer, you can see like how they put everything together. So I could just imagine like learning how to do it while you're playing it would be kind of a mind trip. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Well, heck, we got to get to these other topics because I just looked at the time and we didn't talk about the bearded one at all, even though he's probably not involved in this move
what's
even a
up?
little bit.
What we got?
Hi, my name is George Lucas, and
Oh, whatever.
you like my
And-
George Lucas? Wait,
I
have you
do,
seen
I do.
have you seen the stand up with Patton Oswalt going back in time and talking to Patton? It makes me
Yeah.
laugh so much because that's, you know me, I'm not a fan of the prequels, so in my head that's what I think of too. I'm just like, anyway, continue. We're
Yeah.
talking about LucasArts.
This is okay. Here we go. So for everyone who grew up, I don't know, if you were playing games at any point in the 90s, if you were playing games any point in early 2000s and you had like a nostalgia kick, if you're a person who enjoys not text adventures, but like kind of point and click adventures, basically LucasArts and Lucasfilms, they have some bangers. You can go and Google the games that they released, and they have some classic games. When this is a little bit before Disney bought them, but they kind of had declined or reclined, or not been making games as much. I want to say the last game they made was, what's that game with Jack Black when he's like the rocker and it's like all like super metal? I think that
Yeah,
was
the
their
School
last
of
game.
Rock. Oh
No,
no, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I forgot the name of that game. I
Hold
think
on,
that's the last game
London.
they made. I think that's the last game they made. I'm not even sure they made that or not. But anyway, no, that was Double Fine. Anyway,
Yeah, Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend.
Thank you, London. Look,
Thank
London actually still does something.
some stuff.
Shout out to pray to the avocado toast gods. Thank you,
Yeah,
London.
thank you, London. Basically, LucasArts, if you go look at their games, their catalog is classic. Like for about 10 or 15 years, they dropped nothing but classic bangers. Monkey Island, Full Throttle, Day of the Tentacle, all the X-Wing games, all the TIE Fighter games, all the cool Star Wars Jedi Knight games, the Jedi Knight games. Oh my God. Those just games alone. Dark Forces, if you remember that.
Which one was? Because I haven't played a whole lot. Because I'm not that big of a Star Wars fan. But which was the one where you were jumping? You were trying to stop the Empire from cloning Jedi's, and you could like throw your lightsaber.
Those are the Dark Forces games.
Okay.
And like Dark Forces Jedi Knight games, because the first game was Dark Forces, where you're Katarn, who's been overwritten in the new canon.
Yeah.
Like his host, he's the guy that found the Death Star plans to begin with. Later went on and became a Jedi Knight with Luke at his new academy. So
Okay.
dope. Such a dope storyline.
I played a couple. I never finished the game. I was at a buddy's house, and he was a huge Star Wars fan. He's like, "You play this," and I played like 2 hours or something of it. I was like,
that was one of the games that people used to play before people actually bought separate graphics cards, where it wasn't like a necessity to buy a separate graphics card. So I played the crap out of that game and the DLC for it. And then maybe 2 years later, I bought my first graphics card and went back. So that's one of the games where I could actually see, like, holy crap, like I'm not going without a graphics card ever again.
Stotty totally called you out. Why have we not said KOTOR and Battlefront?
Because those are BioWare games.
Oh, see, Stotty, they're different.
KOTOR was a BioWare game. Battlefront was, I want to say, Pandemic, which no longer exists because EA bought them and killed them because EA is a
so we're specifically talking about Lucas games.
LucasArts games, yes. They were shuttered, and they were shuttered officially after Disney bought Lucas, because Disney doesn't like video games for some reason. Like they
did and they don't, right? Because they had Buena Vista games for a while. Well, I knew some homies over there.
They did like video games, but all of a sudden, I think about 2008, 2009, they just started shuttering everything.
There was like they did the black kid that fades out, that GIF.
Yeah, that GIF. Yeah. They owned Burnout Paradise. People love the Burnout games. They stopped making those. But basically, what had happened, we'll get to today's story.
What had happened was...
Yeah, it looks like today, finally, after all this time, people screaming in their ear, why aren't you making more games? Why does EA only have the license? Lucasfilm Games got announced, which I don't know what that means, but pretty much in the release for it, it said, Kingdom Hearts 3. That was Square. That wasn't Disney. Disney doesn't care. They just got the check from Squaresoft and just forgot about it. But basically, it looks like all Star Wars games are going to be released under this umbrella, which I'm thinking is just a marketing arm, because when they closed down LucasArts for sure the last time, they kept a few people on staff to take care of the licensing. So if somebody wanted to make a TIE Fighter game, they'd have to go through this division, which was LucasArts still, to get the license to get it. They weren't actually making anything. They're just holding licensing. So I think they rebranded this. And so say EA makes a Star Wars game, let's say Square Enix later on makes a Star Wars game, it'll all fall under this umbrella. Because you have Traveler's Tales, who makes the Lego games. There's a Skywalker Saga full Lego game coming out, and that also falls under it, even though it's not EA, they're their own thing. So to me, that's just what this is, and I don't know, but we'll see from there. Maybe down the road, this could actually end up being something bigger, and Disney themselves will get back into making video games, which would be great because it would make sense for them. It'd be cool to have another company throwing stuff out. And when Disney started shutting down their stuff, they were kind of on a good roll. They had Burnout, they had Disney Infinite, which people did like. They did. Yeah,
Disney Infinite was. I remember. I think we were on the early stages of this podcast when that was booming.
When that got shut down and stuff. Yeah, that was like our first year of doing the show. I think when that got shut down. So who's to say? But that was something that I thought was newsworthy, and wanted to hear what the supporters and what you guys had to say about that. Any hopes for that? Would you want to see more Star Wars games? Would we want to see more things? Maybe a new Indiana Jones game. Maybe whatever else they own the rights to. So,
yeah, that Howard the Duck game. Waiting for that.
If done well, that could be cool. If they do it like a detective type thing with like interspace travel and stuff, like that could be cool. I mean, why not?
Oh yeah, like LA Noire, but it's
but in space. That'd be kind of cool. So
you look at you proving me wrong. Why you gotta make me look like an asshole?
Hey, bring it! I want to see a Howard the Duck M-rated detective game. That'd be cool. Like LA Noire, but in space with Howard the Duck.
Part Duckman though, also, right?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, shout out to Duckman. Good call. Shout out to Duckman there.
Yeah. We're showing our age. Hold on. Let's pretend we know how to floss. There you go. I love Ariana Grande. I'm young.
There you go.
Don't close the podcast. We're cool. I promise.
This Liddy fam, as they say.
All right. We got a whole 11 minutes left here, so we are coming up on very, very loose closing statements on news and what you plan to do for the rest of this damn new year. But before I do that, because I hate doing this at the very end because I have to talk really fast, which I'm not that bad at. It kind of surprises me sometimes when I watch these podcasts. I'm like, I did that intro line so quickly. I want to make sure everybody knows how they can interact with this podcast, how they can support us. Please, exactly like Funzelda did, exactly like Vince Rants, Sam Park, Dimple, all the people coming in, and of course our fifth Beatle, Stoddy Too Hottie. Please interact with us. You make this podcast more fun. You give us stuff to talk about. MJ Gordon, I don't even know what 3445 means. Get the heck out of here. But please interact. We are on.
Just do the math. You know what it is.
Oh.
It's an Ariana Grande song on her newest album, actually.
Oh, that's why he would be an Ariana Grande stan. That said, like, subscribe, share, and tell your friends. Interact as much as possible. The more you interact, the more free games you can get. Ask Stoddy Too Hottie with the fine body. That's how that works. Right? We got games to give out still. Savorings ...
Yeah, we got a ton of games. You know what? I haven't even. It's still a mess over there. I haven't even sorted through all that. But we have at least 20 to 30 games to be handing out to people.
Okay, so we'll get on that. But like I said, before we get to the closing statements, I want to do like New Year's resolutions and what we want to do with gaming. But we're on Facebook and Instagram. Oh, so we're on Facebook, obviously, Salt Tier Podcast. Instagram and Twitter, Salt_Tier Pod. Like, follow, subscribe, share. Tag us in posts that are gaming related, and we will reshare these. We want the conversation to keep going. When it comes to where we stream, we're on the Facebook, and then we're definitely on Twitch and YouTube because we feel those platforms, at least for London, that's for sure, when she has to come up with videos and make, thumbnails and title cards, it's just easier on YouTube. And the YouTube gaming community makes a lot of sense to me. That's the way I consume a lot of my gaming knowledge, is like video essays and stuff. And also a humongous shout out to the Soundcasting Network, a beautiful podcast studio run by Boise State's very own Keith the Boogie.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Oh, shit. Oh, he gave it.
He's loading.
He's loading. I'm sorry. I meant Wazoo. Easy.
Ah! You can't see me. That sucks. Why would you ever say Boise State?
Everybody.
The darkness from above.
Yeah. The dark black square. We're talking about Pullman. We're talking about Wazoo. Go Cougs.
That was funny.
Soundcasting Network is home to many podcasts. Others are on video. One particularly that I adore is How to Be a Better Drinker. Not just any bartenders, but like top of the game Seattle bartenders in the Seattle area talking about booze, how to appreciate it, the history, and it's fascinating, and it's a great podcast. Also parts of that are the Glow Up and the Re-Show, all good homies that we used to see in person at the studio, but we are now virtual. Scope them out. That is at soundcastingnetwork.com. .net.com.
Mm.
London? .com.
Mm-hmm.
.com.
.com. Thank you.
.com.
All right. And now that I've said that, yeah, like, subscribe. Podcasts for those: iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Christian Mingle,
YouTube podcast.
Farmers Only.
Nah.
Are we on Farmers Only? Are we on Parlor yet?
I was gonna say, like, I think our Parlor account. I think our Parlor account got
close.
canceled. Yeah.
Wait, is that official?
Yeah, it folded.
I mean, it might as well be.
No, it didn't.
No, unfortunately, they did pull it. It has found a new home with a company called Epic that is actually based in Snohomish, which is actually kind of famous for hosting a lot of shitbag alt-right assholes. So
You can say Nazi. You can say Nazi.
Epic offices, you should leave a flaming bag of shit on their doorstep.
Agreed.
That sounds like a waste of shit to me, though.
They're also hiring right now.
Oh God.
Parlor.
No.
Yo.
That
Hey, Savorings, ... Should we Trojan horse them with our expertise? Be like, hey, we know all about social media and posts, and let's get in there. And then from the inside, just light their servers on fire. Go full V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Remember.
They'll probably hire us just to like fill their quota, their quota, and then we'll just be in the background.
Yeah, that's what I see with all the fucking Proud Boy assholes. Be like, look, that guy's brown. See, we're not racist. I'm like,
yeah,
eat poison and broken glass. I hate you so much. That said, closing statements, and I'm gonna go in reverse order for anything that you gotta get off your chest. Drop your socials and things that you love about whatever. I'm gonna start with Savorings with the box logo hat. What does it say? Sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
I love bootleg Supreme stuff because I hate reseller culture in the sneaker world. I don't know why it gets under my skin. I think it's my punk mentality.
It's not just there either. It's electronics. It's all that crap. I hate all of it.
It's a lot of it, but Supreme, Off-White, all these people, especially when people are like, "Oh no, they're skater culture." I'm like, "Do you know what you're talking to? I'll show you a 1998 skate video of me." But like, I've been a skater since 95, and I still skate every year, a couple times a year, with my old man body. And that shit did not exist in the 90s. You're not gonna pay $120 for a Zoo York T-shirt. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I'm happy that a skater company is making money. I guess that's fine, but I also laugh at people when they brag about how much they spent on their outfit for Hypebeast. I'm like,
yeah,
eat shit. I support every bootleg company that goes on it because it clowns on everybody that thinks that buying Air Maxes that are like the first run that had a collab with someone from Chicago is worth $400. I'm like, fuck them. Fuck them. Okay. Sorry. Savorings ... Go for it.
This is the Savorings ... Find me online either on our Steam group, which we haven't plugged this episode. It's just Saltier Podcast. If you're on Steam, search for groups. Stay safe out there, everybody. Use your best judgment. Watch what you say online. And have a good time. And don't hurt each other. Just have a good time. You see your fellow man knocked down, pick him up. And play some games and enjoy yourself. We'll see you next week. I'll pass it on to the purple-haired one.
What a sweetie. What a sweet darling you are. So much nicer than mine.
Hey, it's me, Sage Bell. Facebook and TikTok and Instagram is SageBell_model. Twitch, Twitter, and basically everywhere else, it's just at Sage Bell. I stream on Thursdays at 7 p.m. and then sometimes I show up online other times. Particularly I either play sandbox survival games or horror survival games. So I die a lot. And yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Hey Sage Bell, I see the Oculus sensor still on your desk.
Yes.
Have you tried Subnautica yet in VR?
No, because I don't own it.
Okay. Well, if I see it for you someplace, I'll pick it up because you should play that too. That's a good horror-ish game too. You wouldn't think it is, but it gets pretty freaky.
And I can play with Matt Stotts, who clearly already has it.
Nice.
And then I'll sit the entire time for that game.
Definitely, especially with the water and stuff. Yeah, you definitely want to have a seat. Yeah. Yeah. Well, alrighty.
And hopefully we will have some guests coming up soon.
Yeah, I know Funzelda wants us to jump in because we adore her. And she's been on, what, twice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just throw her in her. We'll plan on it. We'll be a little better. I've been a complete meathead this entire year so far. In my head, I'm like, how much time do I need to kill before I could exercise? My Twitter makes me look like a weirdo because all I do is list all the things I did all day.
I saw that you have been leaving lists. I've been seeing that. I've been peeping that.
Well, I didn't mean to, and then my buddy was like, "Hey, you should make this a daily journal." I'm like, I wasn't planning on it, but sure. And it's kind of nice to list it down. It makes me feel accomplished because I'm unemployed and because I'm stuck in my apartment.
You're
And
fun employed.
I'm fun. I am fun employed, but I'm on the epic hunt for internships right now. But internships that I want to do. That said, Sagebell, Sagebell, I just finished watching Broad City, and I must say, are you familiar with Sleep No More New York?
Oh yeah, I've done it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know you've done it before.
Sleep
And
No More is great. I just have the mask.
can you explain as your closing statement tag to the maniacs what Sleep No More is, because it's so similar to live streaming horror games. I think it is.
So basically, you go and you witness a murder. So it's a murder mystery. You are an observer. So the actors are you're in the same space as the actors. It's multiple stories. You have a mask on, and all the actors are unmasked, and they can talk, and they can take you into different rooms, and you hear different stories and stuff. Um, and they repeat the same story like 2 or 3 times, so you can figure out the mystery essentially. You can see different rooms, and so you can go to different levels and watch the story happen. So that's why they do it multiple times. And the Sleep No More, I went to. There was this like huge murder in this dining area in like the lower floor, and I was like on this upper balcony, and as like it's really dark. And they can read your body language. So like if you are, like if you're like too terrified, they won't like grab you and take you to a thing. So they'll leave you alone. Like I was like terrified when I went and saw it, but it's super cool. Then
I've
they
never heard of it. It sounds so awesome because I love stuff like that.
you would really like. They have so yeah, if you go to New York when COVID's over, go to that.
If
It's
there is a
super,
New York.
yeah.
What was the price point, just so the maniacs can know what they're getting into?
I'm pretty sure it's like over $100. My
That's fine.
friend gifted it to me.
It's an experience.
Is it under 200?
Probably, maybe. I don't know. I'm honestly
Because
not positive.
I say
didn't
that
pay
as
for
being
it.
a fan of theater. So when people are
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, it's like $120," I'm like, "Yeah, but it's I went and watched Wicked. Like $120 to see Wicked live. I don't even bat my eyes at. Like that's just theater. That's how that works. So I'm cool with that. Kind of like theater people would think we're crazy for paying, $200 for PAX tickets. And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Have you been to PAX?" And they'll be like, "Have you seen theater live?" It's a different thing. That said, I have every bit of plans to do it. My closing statements for 2021 are: be kind to people, healthy body, healthy mind. I can't stress this enough. I got into a conversation with one of my dear friends, Kate, and I was talking about the only thing that really keeps me sane is, I take care of my body, and that makes my mind sharper. Like if I don't exercise and I don't eat well, I'm shitty with producing stuff on my laptop or engaging in video games. Like I feel better when I had a good sweat at least once a week or so. That said, that is episode 106. I know that was a quick closing statement, but that's all I had. And remember to like, subscribe, share. This has been a production of the Soundcasting Network. Love you all. Kisses.